All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rachaha Kwadash. I want to give double honors to the head apostle, and elders, a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessing to you, sincere Akim, that are pushing this truth all over the four corners of the earth, week in and week out in our truth and sincerity. This is going to be a response to the elder brother out of Los Angeles. The title of the name of his page is GMS Get This Work Too. The title of his video is Did E just announced a UFO invasion, and that letter E concerning Esau Edom. I'll leave the link in the description box to his video. Watch, subscribe, and be edified. And I'm just going to play through this video and stop it periodically to give my take on a couple points and bring out some scriptures. So without further ado, let's jump into this. Hold on, man. We gonna get this work.
I've raised the issue, as has my colleagues, Maliotakis and others in New Jersey and New York, about these drone sightings. So last night I was on the beach in Island State Park in Ocean County with the sheriff. He has been working it every single night. He's got his own tethered drones chronicling. One of his officers 2 nights ago saw 50 drones come in off the ocean right there. So we thought maybe they'll replicate it. They didn't, but we thought it was a possibility. Then last night we had a number of other people there, including a commanding officer from the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went.
So now Esau is giving a label and a title to the so-called UFOs and so-called UAPs, which we know them to be the chariots, which those are, or the angels are inside those vehicles. They have put another label on the chariots and they're calling them drones now. Now, before I play this video any further, let's go into what exactly the term UFO or unidentified flying object is, or it's also called UAP as well as unidentified aerial phenomenon. All right, and this is a simple Google search of what is a UFO. It says a UFO is an unidentified flying object or an apparent aerial phenomenon that is difficult or impossible for an observer to identify. Well, it's not impossible because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we have identified these so-called UFOs and so-called UAPs. We know that those are the angels. Okay. It says the term is often used to refer to objects that are thought to be spacecraft from another planet. It says here are some facts about UFOs. Quote, the term, quote, UFO was coined by the United States Air Force in 1952. It says the first widely publicized UFO sighting was in 1947 when Kenneth Arnold reported seeing a group of crescent-shaped objects while flying near Mount Rainier, Washington. The term flying saucer originated from a newspaper misprint of Arnold's account. The U.S. Air Force launched Project Sign in 1948 to investigate the recent increase in UFO sightings. So there's been a constant increase in so-called UFO sightings year after year. Just a couple years ago, you had the government come out and basically make a stance and address the increasing sightings of the so-called UFOs. But this has been a constant thing. When you go back years prior and go do your research, there's year after year, there's more and more chariot sightings all over the earth, primarily over here in Babylon the Great. Okay, let's read that again. It says the U.S. Air Force launched Project Sign in 1948 to investigate the recent increase in UFO sightings. So they were investigating the recent increase of UFO sightings in 1948 as well. All right. It says UFOs have become a prominent part of modern culture, with UFO enthusiasts and religious cults adopting extraterrestrial themes. It says, however, there is no conclusion evidence in the peer-reviewed scientific literature that UFOs have an extraterrestrial origin. Okay, so the chariot sightings are at an all-time high right now, especially over here in America, and the government is making a stance, and you know they want answers concerning these lower level officials in Esau's government system. People are saying that there's drones. People are saying that, there's reflections from the sky, and they're seeing things, this, that, and so forth. But it's becoming more and more evident that these are real objects that they're seeing in the sky, that they're not planes, they're not drones, and they don't know what to label them. But these wicked elites know exactly what they're looking at. These wicked elites know that the so-called UFOs and the so-called UAPs are the angels. Okay. Now let's get a quick scripture real quick. This is Zechariah 5:1. It says, "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth." So basically, what these people are witnessing is the curse that's going to come upon the whole earth, which is sent by the Most High Yahweh. All right. It says, Then he said unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. Okay. It says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts. It shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. All right. So what Zechariah witnessed was a so-called UAP slash so-called UFO. All right. Let's continue on this video.
Through the water. Follow him right behind him. And I said, "What's the rules of engagement? I mean, you do it if you're fighting against a narco trafficker or something." And they said, "We don't know. We don't have any."
Last night, a constituent saw one of these drones hovering over the Verrazano Bridge, which connects Staten Island and Brooklyn. And on one side of that, you have the Coast Guard base at Fort Wadsworth. And on the other side of that, we have an Army base in Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn. And so it is very concerning that they're choosing to fly these things over, as Phil Murphy said, sensitive infrastructure or military installation.
Yeah, the chariots, the angels are flying in no-fly zones. They're flying over military structures, highly highly fortified areas where planes, helicopters, and things are not allowed to fly over. And to see a helicopter or to see a plane, it would be considered something out of the ordinary to a point of a threat. And these military personnel that are seeing these objects, they're not getting the okay for the higher ups to engage, because the people that are over those colonels and those high level officials in the government, and or I should say the military, they know exactly what they are. So they're not going to give them orders to engage in the so-called UFOs, because they know they have nothing that can stand against them. Okay. Only time Esau is really going to actually try to engage The chariots is that great battle that's going to happen between Yahushai, the angels, and Esau's military, Esau and these other nations, military system, man. That war in heaven. Okay.
And we deserve and demand answers, and we would expect our government agencies to have those answers for elected officials.
So I did reach out to the commanding officer at the Joint Base, which is also in my district, and talked to him. Had a very good conversation. Colonel Anthony Smith, Joint Base Fort Dix McGuire, the 87th Air Wing, Air Base Wing today. And I said, I know you have the capability, you've put out press releases, to identify and bring down drones. Why can't you deploy them at least to the ocean? Bring one of these down, find out who's doing it. They have the capability. He said, well, we don't have the authority, only within the parameters of our base. Well, there's a national interest here. Our jets fly over the ocean all the time for training, so that perimeter is larger. So I did write Secretary Lloyd Austin asking that capability that may be sitting in a closet somewhere. I know they use it all the time, but bring it out. And I'm not saying you got to share it with the sheriffs. It'd be nice. Just do it yourself in the interest of the American public. So I would ask if you would echo that request. I mean, DOD's got the capability, and maybe Homeland Security does as well. When we had
that's the thing. None of them have the capabilities. And Esau knows that. Esau knows that they don't have the technology. They don't have the capability. They have tried to engage these chariots as well as these other nations as well. They have tried to, shoot at, follow, surveil, do various different means, concerning the so-called UFOs. And they've been unsuccessful. Furthermore, it's been detrimental to them because they've lost ships, they've lost planes. People have lost their lives trying to pursue the angels, trying to study the angels. Okay. And the angels are showing themselves more and more and more. How ironic is it that in 1948, Esau called his, what was it? His, let's pull it up again. Esau called his project, the U.S. Air Force launched Project Sign, okay, in 1948 to investigate the recent increase in UFO sightings. And that is one of the signs in the heavens that the majority of our people even witness with their very eyes, but they can't identify these objects. They don't understand what they're looking at. They don't know that those are the angels of the Lord. Your pastor, your preacher, he ain't telling you that the angels are in those ships.
Zoom meeting with Secretary Mayorkas. Our governor put it together, and I appreciated that. But I asked them, why can't we just track where they go to?
Well, over the past few weeks, hundreds of eyewitnesses have now reported seeing large-size UFOs or drones, you can call them whatever you like, hovering for hours, not minutes, over parts of the United States, from Arizona to New Jersey to North Carolina, all across.
Yeah, you see what it says? It says, breaking news, FBI investigating mysterious drones spotted over northern New Jersey. And this is being seen all over New Jersey. There's a high influx. Many people seeing multiple, from 50 to 100 to 300 drones at one Slocky, so-called UFOs at one time. Okay. Hey, Esau, your time is almost up. And this devil knows that he ain't got too much longer.
The United States, many reports that these are hovering over military installations as well. And now we know that the FBI is actively investigating these UFOs. In fact, we just got word that these UFOs are now hovering over federal agents' homes. Listen.
Well, Will, one of the ships was in fact inspected by the Coast Guard and they couldn't find anything. The thing is that there were several other suspicious ships in the region that they never got to. And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if this.
Hey, yeah. Hey, they were reported to investigate certain situations with these so-called UFOs. And next thing they know, they look outside and there's a chariot hovering over their crib, hovering over their house, man. Oh, man, let's run that back.
Find anything. The thing is that there were several other suspicious ships in the region that they never got to. And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are.
What is going on in New Jersey?
So, sir, the FBI and
They ain't got the answers, man. You know, the FBI, and look at their faces, man. They looking like, man, we don't know. We don't know what the hell's going on. And then the few people in the room that do actually know what's going on, you know, they're basically sworn into secrecy where they couldn't talk about it, you know, even if they wanted to, you know, at least not without, you know, losing their life afterwards. Okay. Hey, this truth, this wisdom knowledge that is being pushed all over the four corners of the earth brings fear into the hearts of these wicked elites. Okay. Let's go to Acts real quick. Because the same way Yahushua left this earth is the same way he's going to return. This is Acts chapter 1 and 9. It says, and when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. This is concerning, you know, Yahushua basically leaving the disciples, okay, being beamed up by a quote unquote so-called UFO, which was a chariot. And, you know, the disciples witnessed this. Let's keep reading on. It says, verse 10, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, you know, so as they were looking up to the sky, they seen Yahushua being beamed up, being taken away from him, and, you know, enter into a ship, and they're in awe. You know, they're astonished, they're in amazement. You know, it says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So these wicked elites, they know this. They know that they have to keep, or at least they are going to do everything in their power to keep a heavy surveillance, not only on the skies, all right, but space as well, to try to get a heads up of the return of Yahushua, okay? Because they know when Yahushua returns, they're going to make war with him, all right? Because Esau is going to do anything and everything he can to hold on to his kingdom. He ain't going to just give his kingdom over. He ain't going to just let it go. You know, he's going to go down scratching, crawling, and biting. Let's read that again. It says, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So he's going to return the same way he left. Let's continue on.
And our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that.
Yeah, see, they ain't got the answers, man. Okay. And this has gone on for years and years and years. And this has always been considered a top priority amongst these, military branches is, the so-called UFO, the so-called UAP, the objects in the skies. And now they're labeling them drones. Okay. So Esau needs the people to believe in something. All right. He can't tell them the truth, but he needs them to believe in something, any and everything but the truth, because he needs their support and also, the people who are in these different military branches not thinking that they're going to fight the Lord. Could you imagine if Esau came out and said, yeah, the so-called UFOs are the angels of the Lord? All right. He can't say that. Hey, when them chariots crack them clouds in spectacular fashion, when Yahweh Shah returns, he can't have these people believing that they're going to, battle against so-called quote unquote Jesus Christ. You'd have a lot of Christians, Christian believers, turn their badge in, drop out of whatever military branch they were in. And Esau, he needs the support of the people. He needs the people believing in a lie. All right. We can't forget that this is the father of lies who's in rulership right now. The man who has deceived the whole earth. And as you see on your screen, he's continually deceiving.
Of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights. But we're actively investigating. What the Bureau has done to aid our state and local partners is what we generally do, enlist the help of the interagency, enlist the help of the public. There's a tip line there, that 1-800-CALL FBI, tips.fbi.
You definitely don't want to call that hotline. All right. Anytime you hey, I used to watch these years ago I used to watch these UFO sighting channels on YouTube, and the whole Men in Black, how they made a movie about it. Well, they actually made a movie about something that's in real life. They actually made a movie about a branch of Esau's CIA programs, you could call it. And this show, this one was talking about, she owned a farm, and she was, crop circles were happening. She would see these flashing lights, and she would see, ultimately she was seeing the chariots fly over her fields, and basically would make these designs in the fields and this, that, and so forth. And she basically called one of those hotlines or contacted FBI. She was approached by a couple of men. She said they were all black. She's recounting this. You have to understand, she's recounting this years later. All right. So she's trying to remember the accounts of what she told these particular men. And she said that she basically told them about what she saw. And After that, she don't remember anything else. And she's getting these memories back years and years later. I think it's like 15, 20 years later. She's starting to remember these things. You know, in the movie Men in Black, they would always come to you with those questions, and then they would flash that little zap light at you, and you would basically it would wipe your memory, or you would just basically forget everything that you had witnessed for the last couple hours or days or so. Okay, it's very weird. Esau puts exactly what he's doing right in front of your face. Okay, let's go to Mark chapter 8, verse 38, real quick. It says, "Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." So when Yahweh Shah returns, he's not just coming by himself. He's coming with the holy angels. And this is what Esau Edom, the hierarchy of Esau Edom, is scared to death of. This is why they're putting a lot of money into their Space Force programs, into their bunker systems, into their laser technology, everything. Okay. You know, so Esau knows he has nothing that can come against these ships, but in his mind, he's got to try. Okay. But it ain't like Esau has shot down a chariot and he's been able to take it into his facility and study its, inner workings and this, that, and so forth. Man, Esau will tell you that. He'll tell you that he's, you know, shot down a so-called UFO and took it apart and rewired and all that. That's all bullshit. All right, let's continue on.
For information from the public that could help us resolve this. It is concerning.
Hey, you want some information? Hey, we'll give you some information. All right, like we read in Zechariah 5:1. That's your ass. Okay. That's your ass. That's what y'all looking at. That's what y'all witnessing. Y'all are witnessing the angels, and there's dark-skinned men in those chariots. Okay. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. This is Ezekiel chapter 1, and let's start in verse 4. It says, "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding in itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire." Okay, and sometimes in the scriptures, the chariots are referred to as clouds, like it states in Psalms, the 104th chapter, in the 3rd verse. The Lord maketh the clouds his chariots. It says, verse 5, "Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance." All right, so it's going to go into, the appearance of those living creatures, which are the angels inside those ships. It says, "They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass." Okay, so that's the color, burnished brass. So these are dark-skinned men, which are angels inside these so-called UFOs. And Esau knows this. All right, these wicked elites, they have technology to, see more than, well, I'll put it this way: these wicked elites see more than what the public sees. Even concerning Esau's various Google Earth and satellite programs, which the public can log on to and witness, you know, chariot sightings and, things of that nature. But a lot of times the feed will get cut, but it only gets cut on the end of the public. It doesn't get cut on the other side, so to speak. And moreover, they have satellites that are only geared towards them. They have their own personal satellites in orbit. to spy out or seek to spy out space, and they witness all kind of activity in space. All right, a type of formations of the angels, man. Okay, and these wicked elites, they're scared shitless, man, and they know that the men out there in the highways and byways prophesying against this place got the truth.
Is the public at risk? Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that, but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
Mayor, thank you, first of all, for your time. You've seen these drones. Before we talk about the theories on the source of them, kind of just describe what you've experienced.
Been hearing about them, but last Tuesday night, a resident in town, one of my neighbors on my block, said that there were 8 overhead over our elementary school. And
so it's no longer a thing of, you hear these average everyday people witnessing these chariots. These are high level people in the government. You got government officials, you got military personnel, high ranking military leaders witnessing these chariots with their own very eyes, even to the point of witnessing chariots fly and hover right over their households. Okay, this is a New Jersey official who, Salaki, matter of fact, let me back it up. I'm not sure if he's a New Jersey official. Let's back up a little bit, find out who this man in particular is, but he definitely looks important, right?
Before we talk about the theories on the source of them, kind of just describe what you've experienced.
Let me back up a little bit more.
Thank you, first of all, for your time. You've seen these drones.
To say that, but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
Mayor, thank you, first of all, for your time. You've seen these drones. Before we talk about the theories on the...
Okay, so he's the mayor. This is the mayor of New Jersey. Let me back up one more time, make sure I got it right.
Known that would lead me to say that, but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
Mayor, thank you, first of all, for your time.
All right, yeah, so this is the mayor, man. You got high level prominent figures in Esau's government structural system speaking about of their own eyewitness accounts. Okay, so it's no longer you're crazy. It's no longer that, oh, you're just seeing things. It's no longer that, oh, that guy's crazy. He believes in UFOs. He believes there's things in it. It's now a fact. Okay, which has always been a fact, but now on mainstream level, it's a fact that there is things flying around in the heavens. Okay.
Time. You've seen these drones. Before we talk about the theories on the source of them, kind of just describe what you've experienced.
Been hearing about them, but last Tuesday night, a resident in town, one of my neighbors on my block, said that there were 8 overhead over our elementary school and municipal complex, which are on the same block. So I got in my car and I rode around here, and by the time I got around here, which is only about a half-mile ride, the drones had all moved east over the town of Dover, New Jersey, kind of in between us. There's a large county park, and they were everywhere. I have a video of it was 4 with a kind of a stationary drone. What it appeared to us was there was 1 drone that was just stationary, and 4 were going back and forth in a.
And it's interesting how Esau is pushed this new term that everybody's using now, calling them drones. Okay, because it used to be so-called unidentified flying objects, aerial phenomenons, whatever the case may be. But now it is a new trend amongst these reports as being labeled drones. Okay, I don't know if they're going to try to attach that, to Russia or some of these other nations I very well could see Esau saying that these sites you're seeing in the sky are high tech, high level. Exactly what they're saying. Drones from China, from Russia, from North Korea that have been spying out our liberties over here in America, and it's a war threat. And they're far advanced from any technology that we have. Esau very well could spin it that way.
Scanning pattern. I'm a little older, so I would, look like Pong from back in the day, right? Back, back, forth. And they went over the town of Dover.
Hey, let's get that real quick. Because that's how the chariots move. The chariots don't move off of the laws of physics, the laws of gravity, propulsion, wind speed, wind deflection. All right. Spark, fuel. The chariots don't move like that, man. Okay. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 1 and let's go down to verse 8. It says, and they had the hands of a man under their wings on their four sides, and the four had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. So the chariots ain't gotta maneuver like Esau's chariots, like a plane. With their propulsion, their wind speed. Basically, the laws of physics and gravity is what Esau is limited to. Okay. It says, let's read that again. It says, their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. Okay. This guy witnessed the chariot jumping over here, going over there, but basically staying in the same basically the ship staying in the same direction. Okay. But it was moving all over the place.
I went down into Dover to see a better look, get some more pictures, and they moved east again. And that was my own personal observation. I have residents reporting, last night some residents reported that there were, over various times of the evening, they were watching, and there were 12 over our lake. And they can't get pictures because they come out really grainy, and they're still like little dots on cell phones. I'm hoping some folks with some really good equipment can get out there. I know there's a fellow in town who has infrared night equipment. He's going out tonight looking. He's going to try to see if he can get. But it's very disconcerting.
What do you think is going on, Mayor? What do you think this is?
Well, to be intentionally a little inflammatory, the state of New Jersey has been invaded by drones. The question and the problem and the nervousness is by who? Because they are everywhere. There are hundreds of these things.
Yeah, well, the who is the angels of the Lord. And second, they've always been there. The angels are, the Lord has basically allowing people to see the chariots more and more and more. Okay. Because just because these so-called UFOs, these so-called UAPs, these so-called drones, show themselves, doesn't mean when you can't see them that they're not there. All right. The chariots are always around us. The angels are always around us. Okay. Just like what is it? The account of Elisha. Let's get that real quick. Let's go to the book of 2 Kings 6 and 16. And I'm just going to go straight to the point. All right. This is 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 16. And it reads, as a matter of fact, let's skip up to verse. Let's see here. Salakia, bear with me. All right, let's start in verse 12. It says, and one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet that is in Israel telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told of him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither the horses and chariots and great hosts, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of Yahweh was risen early and gone forth, behold, and hosts compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they be with them. Let's read on. It says, verse 17, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. So Elisha prayed to the Lord to open the man's eyes, the young man's eyes, to see all the angels in the skies around him. Okay? It says, Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Okay? So hey man, the chariots are always around. Just because you don't see the flashing lights, just because you don't see, the illuminated dots, just because you don't see the movements, don't mean they're not there. Okay.
I have friends up and down the state. They're reporting down at the Jersey Shore, in southern counties, Cape May, all the way up into Sussex County. The length of the
And the majority of all, now I'll say it like this: the majority of UFO sightings on the earth are over here in America. Okay, and that's documented.
state, they're reporting that there are drones everywhere. Theories range from that it's a military exercise because President Trump.
Hey, when the Lord returns, he's coming with innumerable mounts of angels. Let's get that real quick. Let's go into bear with me one moment. Let's go to the book of Psalm 68 and verse 17. And let's go to the blue letter on this, because the Lord's coming with innumerable mounts of angels. This is Psalms 68. And let's go down to verse 17. It says, the chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. Let's read it in NLT. It says, surrounded by unnumbered thousand of chariots. The Lord came from Mount Sinai into a sanctuary. Now let's go into the interlinear and let's go into this word angels. Okay.
Strong's H8136. Shin-an.
So this is Strong's HA136. And when you go into this word for angels in Psalm 68:17, it says repetition. Repetitions twice 10,000, thousands of repetitions, twice told thousands. And then it says myriads in effect. Now, when you go and look up the word myriads, let's look it up real quick. When you look up the word myriads, here's the definition for myriads. It says countless or extremely great number. All right. It says when you go into, You read it says countless or extremely great number, basically going into innumerable. Let's go into the similar words for this, because this is interesting. It says millions, billions, zillions. It says gazillions, bazillions, gobs. Those are the similar words for this. So the Lord's coming with an innumerable amount of angels. You ain't gonna be able to count it, Esau. Okay, they're gonna be everywhere. Very well could cover the whole sky. All right, all over the earth.
Flies in and out of New Jersey and has property here. They're organized clubs who are just putting them up in the air. But the activity of the drones, the methodical scanning back and forth, it gives a lot of people pause because they're not really sure what that's about.
And come on, so they can't be drones, because are you saying that another nation has technology that is above your technology, that they can get an aircraft or a flying object that is remotely controlled, okay, into your airspace? That would be a high level national security concern. Okay, so this whole drone narrative being off the strength of being controlled by a physical human being, that would go completely against what America stands for, promotes, and claims concerning being a safe, military specialist technology, and having the strongest army and defense capabilities and systems on earth, which they promote to the public. So this whole narrative of being drones contradicts, the national security government's claims to the public. Okay.
Or people would say they're geo tracking or something. I forget what the word is. Scanning, almost like a Google Earth, but a night thing. But it's all crazy speculation in the fact that no one's provided answers.
Salaki. Yeah, so you heard what he said. He said no one's provided answers, and that's a false statement. Let's run that again, because
I forget what the word is. Scanning, almost like a Google Earth, but a night thing. But it's all crazy speculation in the fact that no one's provided answers.
Yeah, well, that's an incorrect statement, because the men of the Lord out there in the highways and byways, constantly going out there teaching, constantly uploading videos. We have provided the answers through the Spirit and power Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. We got the answers. We got the truth. And we're out there in the highways and byways telling you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans what those unidentified flying objects are, but not just you Israelites, you other nations as well. We're telling you what those unidentified flying objects are. We're telling you Edomites that's the curse that's going to come upon your kingdom. All right? We're telling you that's your ass. So the prophets are on the scene through the Spirit and power Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, laying out what those so-called UAPs are. We're telling you that those are the angels. All right? And the majority of our people are ignorant to that fact. Some of them willingly ignorant, and they refuse to believe. But that's okay. Okay? Because there's going to come a point in time that they're going to understand that the words that those men that they saw there in the highways and byways were speaking were the truth. Like the scripture says, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them, but not just for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you other nations as well, man. Y'all gonna know that that was the truth. Okay. This is Jeremiah 4:13. It says, "Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariots shall be as a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles." You ain't got nothing that can chase down the chariots, that can freeze the chariots, that can shoot at. You can't lock on. You can't even get close to, man. All the accounts of the, various different fighter jet pilots and um, naval officers that have come in contact with the angels and have their ships technology went haywire, man. The tracking systems went all over the place. Basically, they lost all power until they were far enough away from the chariot. Everything went haywire. It says, Jeremiah 4:13, "Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles." It says, "Woe unto us, for we are spoiled." And that's what's going to come out of the mouth of Esau Edom. That's why he's digging so far into the earth. That's why he's setting up various different things in hopes that he'll be protected, in hopes that he'll be safe, in hopes, he has high hopes, you know. He's reaching far. He has a far-fetched reach that just maybe, he'll be able to win this battle concerning that war in heaven, where they try to go subdue the man that comes from the sea. All right, and let's close out on that scripture. Let's go to Second Ezra, the 13th chapter. Because they have a hopes. If Esau could get, going back to the old cartoons, if I could just get one wish, his one wish would be he could win that battle against Yahushua. But it ain't gonna happen. This is Second Ezra 13, and let's go down to verse. Really, you could read the whole chapter. For time's sake, let's start in verse 4. Actually, let's start in verse 5. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of heaven." See, it's not just Esau that's going to try to, fight against Yahushua. These other nations are going to side with Esau, and they're going to come together as one to try to fight Yahushua and the angels. It says, "Together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." And that man that they're speaking about is Yahushua. It says, "But I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain." Now is Yahushua going to be standing on top of a mountain of rock and stone, okay, of the earth? No, that mountain that he's standing upon, like we read in Acts, Yahushua is going to return the same way he left. He left in a chariot, he's going to return in a chariot, okay? And that mountain that Ezra is referring to is a chariot, a so-called UFO. It says, "But I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it." Okay, mountains don't fly. All right. It says, verse 7, "But I would have seen the region or place where the hill was graven, and I could not." So Ezra couldn't see the beginning, the end, the start, the finish of the chariot that Yahushua was in. It says, verse 8, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid." So that number of all these different military specialists from all over the four corners of the earth are going to be scared shitless, man. But Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to put it in them and force them to fight anyways, man. Okay. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight." So the Lord's going to put the spirit in them to fight anyway. All right. Verse 9, "And lo, as he saw the balance of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. but I only saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire. And this is concerning that concentrated fire that comes from the chariots. All right. And this is what Yahweh Shai is going to do when he returns. He's burning people up. He's frying them up with laser beams, man. Laser technology far above anything that Esau's ever dreamed of. It says, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived. So all these various different militaries, naval, all right, Esau's Air Force, Space Force, and not just Esau, these other nations together gathered together in this great army formation to try to fight Yahweh Shai and the angels. Ezra said, after that blast came from Yahweh Shai's chariot, man, there was nothing left. Let's read on. It says, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived. So he saw this army of men and tanks and fighter jets and all different types of technology that they're going to have, space aircraft and all types of things, man. Technology we don't even know about. But after Yahweh Shai sends that blast of fire out, you're not going to be able to perceive anything, man. There's not going to be a wing or landing gear, a label of the side of something where you could say that used to be a piece of a F-150 fighter jet. Nah, man. All right. It says nothing was to be perceived. Okay. It says, but only dust and smell of smoke. So there's only going to be dust left. You can't identify dust. All right. You can't pick up some dust and be able to identify it to being something at one point in time. It says, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Okay. So these Edomites are shook. These people in the government, these people in the military, they're all shook. Okay. Hey, Lord willing knows that. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description box to the elders video. This is from channel GMS Get This Work Too. Did E just announce a UFO invasion? Lord willing knows, edifying. To the next time. Shalom.